Hi there, book lovers.
And welcome to the Sisterhood of the Steamy Reads, where two sisters dive head first into the world of spicy romance.
I'm Blondie.
And I'm Mare, and if there's one thing we love, it's a book that brings the heat.
From the slow burns that make you swoon to the downright scandalous reads that leave you blushing.
We're here to break it all down with hot takes, steamy plot recaps, and plenty of laughs.
No trope is off limits. No book is too spicy. Whether you're a seasoned romance reader
or just dipping your toes into the world of smutty fiction, we've got you covered.
So grab a drink,
get cozy,
and let's talk spice.
Hello!
Welcome back, everybody. Wait, I'm muted.
You're muted.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome to part 2 of our spicy book basics.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I like the double episode too.
I know. Knocking them out, bitches.
All right, so in case you missed part 1, this is part 2 of our spicy book basics, where we're giving you a crash course meets therapy session where we're breaking down bookish lingo, our own mildly chaotic reading journeys, and grab a drink, grab your favorite morally gray fictional boyfriend, and let's talk spice.
Yeah, let's get into it. We're going to go into tropes, triggers, and taboo topics.
Dun, dun, dun.
I thought you had that one.
I do, but I'm bringing up the tropes image.
Oh, I'm like, hit it.
I will one of these days, because we're starting with tropes first. First, tropes. All righty then.
And if people want us to go or say more tropes, let us know. We're just going over a couple
From each section.
of the general genres.
Yeah, we're not reading them all word for word. We're just hitting the couple that we think are the most applicable. Mm-hmm. So, starting with number 1 at the very top, enemies to lovers. The tension, the banter, the eventual fireworks. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a lot of spicy books. This trope is almost in all of them. Almost. In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I mean,
all of them, though?
It's in a good portion of spicy novels because it's just such a good tension builder.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that.
I mean, it's not in Lights Out. I wouldn't say they're enemies to lovers. But it's definitely in Does It Hurt? It was definitely in Leather and Lark. Mm-hmm. So it's been in some of the books that we've done. I say it's about half and half so far of what we've reviewed.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'll give you that one.
All right, your turn.
Grumpy and Sunshine. One is broody and the other is a golden retriever. And together they burn up the pages. I was going to say the example, but I'm not going to because I've not read that one. A good one for this was...
Grumpy Sunshine?
Yeah.
Leather and Lark.
Yes.
He was broody. She was always like bubbly and happy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's a perfect example. So was Does It Hurt? He was broody. She was more...
upbeat.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'll give you that.
All right. The next one, forced proximity. Stuck together, might as well make the most of it. So we've obviously we've reviewed a lot of books with forced proximity. So Does It Hurt was forced proximity.
Chasing the Wild was the other.
Yep. They were snowed in on a mountain. Again, similar book trope. It's exactly what it sounds like. They're forced to stay within a certain area of each other or forced to be around each other type of thing.
Yeah.
Very popular trope.
Yeah. Nocticadia had it when she was stuck there.
I would say it was more mild in Nocticadia.
Oh, for sure. It was just that one scene.
Because at any time she could have left the college. There was nothing forcing her to stay.
No, when they had their first romance scene, that was, and he didn't let her go home, remember?
Oh, yes. I wouldn't say that's as intense as others. I would say that would be gentle forced proximity.
It's a gently forced proximity on that.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidged forced.
Because if she really wanted to leave, she could have.
Yeah.
So,
how about a forbidden romance? Taboo attractions make everything more intense.
We should probably like forbidden romance, like teacher student,
Yes. Stepbrother with sister or stepsister, right? Or like
Priest and layperson.
priest and a layperson.
Yeah, there's definitely some
There's
forbidden romances.
yes.
People of different species sometimes, like like
Species.
like fairies and humans.
Yeah,
That's a huge thing. Like, come on, Akatar is a thing.
there's no humans. Oh, there is humans in that.
Or Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Quicksilver is human and fairies. And other species, too.
Is that forbidden though?
Well, I don't know if it's strictly forbidden, but
It's frowned upon.
it's a smidge again.
Just a smidge. Just a smidge.
Just
No,
a smidge.
no
Okay.
buenos.
So those are classic romance tropes. And again, we're putting a huge list on screen. We're only hitting a couple. So
Yeah.
now we're going to move on to the extra spicy and edgy tropes. You go first.
Why choose in reverse harem? And this is why pick just one love interest when you can have all of them. And I like reverse harems. I think they're fun to read, and it's very maybe my kink. I don't know to read it.
One woman, multiple men.
Yes,
That's reverse harem.
because a normal harem, right, is one man, multiple women. Like it's always been reverses.
Yeah.
Way better.
I have only read one book and it kind of came out of nowhere, and I don't know if it'd be considered. You're snacking spicy Cheetos. I don't know if
Pineapple knows what's up.
I don't know if it would be considered a reverse harem because it was like, yes, there was one intimate scene, but it wasn't a commonality. It was more of a love triangle. And the one scene was more of helping her choose who she was going to be with. So I don't.
Ooh. What book was this?
It was the book series A Choice of Light and Dark. We will definitely have to review it in the future. But there's 4 books. And they get better as they go forward. So we might have to make that a series eventually. So anyway, reverse harem. All right. So extra spicy, edgy trope. Age gap. Obviously a little taboo and a lot of tension. Examples is a much older man with a much younger woman or vice versa. So that's pretty much a given.
Yeah.
Self-explanatory. Moving on.
Kidnapping and captive romance. This is like a Stockholm syndrome. A lot of tension.
That's what happens when you eat snacks.
I get better. I don't think I've.
Kidnapping and captive romance. I'm trying
to think if I've read any with that in it. What?
Well, the series I just mentioned had that in it. I think that was in book 2 and 3.
She was a captive. She was captive.
Yeah, she was kidnapped and he held her captive. Again, good book series. So
Fair enough.
the next one is fated mates or soulmates. The universe or magic has decided you belong together. Trying to obviously I've not read Akatar, but I believe that this is a huge trope in Akatar.
Yeah.
So
The Court of Thorn Roses. Yeah.
Yeah. Fated mates.
Well, yeah. They don't know it. Oh, wait, you could use Twilight.
They weren't fated in Twilight.
Not her.
Oh, ew.
And
The Renesmee Jacob thing in Twilight.
Fated mates.
I
Yeah,
threw up.
definitely
I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Do you need a Cheeto?
Not jalapeno. If you had regular Cheetos, I'd be down.
Sorry.
You suck.
Jalapeno cheddar, my favorite right now.
Okay. Trope
Okay.
section number 3.
Paranormal or fantasy romance tropes. This one gets weird.
Good luck with this.
Monster romance. Love interests that aren't human. Here's the example.
This is the only reason she's reading this, by the way.
Literally the only reason I'm reading this one. Because the example is Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M.
Nescasta.
Nescasta. So let me just read that again. Just in case you guys want to read this Later. Morning Glory Milking Farm. There's a monster romance trope in that book. I don't know what the fuck is going on in that book.
I don't know what the monster is. Is it a giant cow? I mean, milking
I
farm?
guess I don't know.
I don't know
Morning
either.
Glory Milking Farm. Someone Google that.
We need a
We need to
Google
know
on
what
this.
monster is being milked in this farm.
Oh, gross. You.
Moving on. Mary, your turn.
Okay. The next that was a loud crunch in my ear. The next fantasy romance trope would be fae or magical creatures / fairies. So high stakes romance with powerful beings. Again, Akatar, Quicksilver, a choice of light and dark. I'm trying to think of other fairy books. I'm not a huge fairy person. As far as like those aren't my, I wouldn't gravitate toward those books first when reading a spicy novel. So I maybe don't have as many on my list. What about you? Are you into fairies? Are you into the? I don't know. Are you into men with big wings?
Yeah.
So you've read a lot of fairies.
Milking Farm fairies.
I did not say that. The example.
I know. No, I have. Not Akatar. I think it's so dumb. We made that an acronym. But like her first book, the Court of Throne of Glass, has a bit of everything in it too.
Is that the same author?
It's the same author, but it's her way better series.
I think
She wrote that
I
series.
think I
way
started
young.
that first book.
You started book 1. You have to start at 0.5
I know. I started at book 1 and I couldn't get through it.
because you don't know what's going on.
I lost. It's not that I didn't understand. I just lost interest in general. Like it was just
Very
ugh.
deep. Yeah,
I know I'm going to be forced to reread it again, but I couldn't. I lost interest.
and it's just for sure a giant cow.
Did you
Not
look
kidding?
At,
Did you look it up?
She Googled it. Oh my
Oh my god, is it really a cow?
Oh my god! I wish we could bring up stuff and Google it and put it on our screen like instantly.
Oh, wait. A steamy monster romance novel featuring a human woman, Violet, who takes the job at a farm that specializes in milking
Minotaurs.
Minotaurs. Oh.
Oh my god! It is a giant cow.
OMG.
We are not reviewing that book.
I think we have to.
Draw the line
Just
at
for
milking
Mari.
minotaurs. It's probably not on Audible either.
It's probably not. We'd have to physically read it.
Dang it. Oh, that's definitely not on the list.
Oh
Just
my
kidding.
god. Thank
Just
you
kidding.
for Googling that. That is fucking hilarious.
Okay. All right. Moving on to
Must see cover? Okay. You'll have to text us the cover. Ooh, text it to me. I can show it in the camera.
there you go. All right.
Okay.
Spicy rom-com tropes. You go first.
Best friend sibling. Off limits, but oh so tempting.
Best friend sibling. I'm trying to think if I've read anything like that. I haven't. I've read some sibling stuff, or like step sibling stuff, or adopted siblings, but I've never read best friend sibling yet.
Yeah, and I don't really feel like it's off limits, best friend siblings, but I guess if you break up with them, you're fucked.
Yeah, that would definitely screw the relationship
Maybe.
with your best friend.
Yeah.
All right, so my spicy rom-com trope that I'm going to read is is accidental marriage. Whoops, we got married. Now what? I don't know if it's necessarily accidental, but I would say either accidental marriage, maybe coerced marriage, kind of like in Leather and Lark. Kind of falls in that trope. They're saying these are rom-coms, so they're supposed to be romantic comedies, but So
One bed trope. A classic. There's only one bed. What will they do? Milk minotaurs.
we just read about that. Well, not that, but we just read Does It Hurt, where they had one bed.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah. All right.
Smut first or erotica tropes.
All right. Last section of tropes. All right. Insta-lust. Immediate attraction straight to the action. So that's pretty, again, self-explanatory. Insta-lust.
Oh my God, you guys have to see this cover.
All right, hold on. Let me zoom up
Okay.
on you. Hold on. Wait for it. Okay, here we go. Wait, I got to... Oh, am I going to have to take down the tropes? No, you should be good. Hold it above the tropes. That's so far away.
I know, I was going to get up, but then you were like, hold on, let me zoom in on you.
Oh my God, look at this cover. OMG. Oh my God.
You're welcome, everybody.
They can't hear you.
You're welcome, everybody.
Oh my goodness. That is just, I don't even know what to say. Oh,
That is my favorite part tonight.
the milking the Minotaur.
That's the best fucking cover. What the fuck is happening in this book? Oh shit.
All right, so
Okay,
getting-
sorry, we're getting really off topic.
Sorry, that was a tangent, and
Okay.
it was your fault.
You're welcome. And you are welcome too, my friends. Now you know everybody's gonna go read that.
They're at least gonna Google it.
I'll put that in our comments. Don't
I bet
worry.
you it's a short story. I bet you it's only like that thick. I bet you it's like a 1/4 inch thick.
I mean, how long could it be? I mean, I'm milking minotaurs.
Oh my God. You know we're going to have to put this on our TBR because of this episode, and I'm so upset about it right now. I do not want to read this.
I'll read it for both of us.
You're going to do a lone podcast?
Yeah, and you can just laugh at me.
Oh God. All right.
Now I'm effing dying.
All right. Smut versus
Welcome,
erotica
everybody.
tropes. We already did Insta-lust. All right, your turn. Stop reading the comments and do your turn.
You gotta read that last comment.
Oh my. We got to read it.
You gotta read it because I'm laughing at it.
What? Who is it that's
If it's a minotaur, it's gonna be long. You're welcome.
Oh my God.
That's what she said.
Oh shit.
All right. Read yours. We're totally off on our tangent.
Voyeurism, the thrill of being watched,
And exhibitionism.
and exhibitionism. Oh, I said it right.
There you
I
go.
could not say it earlier. That's why I didn't say it.
Okay. Well, do you want to give a book example of that? Because there might be people out there that have read that book. I know I've read that book.
Oh, yeah?
Credence by Penelope Douglas. Have you read it?
Maybe I have. I don't know. I read a lot of her books.
Hold on. Mute your mic really quick. That one's going on the TBR.
That will be on the TBR list, my friends, if you know what we're talking about.
If anybody knows anything about the book Credence by Penelope Douglas, that will be on our TBR at some point. Well, it's on the TBR. It will be an episode at some point.
For sure.
It's a very taboo book. All right. All right, mine is the D's, and not the D's you're thinking of, or DS. It's dominant submissive relationships. So power and control dynamics. So D/S. I thought it was D''S. It's a really little slash on my piece of paper. Okay?
D's.
It's D's. It's all the
Big
D's.
old D's.
All righty.
Taboo and twisted romance, pushing the boundaries, and forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. How do you say? I don't know how to say. last name.
Suzuma? That
Suzuma?
sounds
Okay.
right. That's an example book.
I have not read that book.
have not
Pushing
read
the boundaries. I feel like you could probably put that on.
Banana says she'll read it. She's going to read the Minotaur book.
We're in for the Minotaur. Mari's going to read it too. And so is Pineapple. Would make all you bitches read that.
Oh, man. I can't believe we're going to read that book. All right.
Well, Taboo and Twisted Romance, I feel like also goes under the top one or right above it, the Credence one. And I think pushing boundaries, I feel like, does it hurt? Push boundaries.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a little
definitely a taboo. There's a
twisted
lot of
romance.
taboo is very common again in like darker romances. Taboo is a huge part, which is what makes it dark. All right. Well, now that we
Are done with all those tropes.
that was some intense tropes.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. All right. The next section is trigger warnings and why they matter and how to find them. So I'm going to put up some common trigger warnings. These we are not going to read through because obviously they're extremely self-explanatory, but we will leave them on the screen while we talk. So we're going to talk more about why they matter and how to find them, because I think when you're delving into spicy novels, especially dark romance with taboo and deeper themes, you definitely need to read responsibly, because there are people out there. I have people in my personal life that there are certain books that they will not even touch because they cannot read that kind of disturbing content.
Which is fair, right?
So, trigger warnings in spicy books are essential to help readers navigate potentially sensitive or upsetting content. These warnings give readers a heads up about the topics that may be distressing or triggering. And up on the screen, obviously, we have a list of the common trigger warnings found in spicy books. Some spicy books deliberately explore darker themes like dark romance or dubious consent, and these often carry more intense triggers. You should always check the book blurb or reviews to see if the book contains specific trigger warnings that may be applied to you. Other places that you can find trigger warnings, like I said in part 1, I think it was in part 1.
Yeah.
You can usually find them in the front cover of books. If you're an Audible listener, they sometimes read the trigger warnings. The narrators do. If you're reading on ebook, again, it'll be in the first few pages. If you can't find them any of those places, the next place you can look is the author's website or the book's website. And then if it's not listed there, which usually they are,
They
at
are.
least a generalized list.
And sometimes more
And
on the author's website. It's usually
sometimes more. And if you've gone through all of that and still can't find trigger warnings, your next bet is to do some review reading or Googling or maybe TikTok searching.
Or if you really need to look that hard, don't read the fucking book.
Well, not necessarily. Maybe if you can't find trigger warnings, maybe there aren't any. That could be an option too.
Yeah. There might not be a lot of craziness.
So,
Why don't we go into that? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, why don't we go into why it's important to read trigger warnings?
You talking about DubCon?
Yeah.
Well, let me get through one more blurb and then we're going to hit the spicy stuff, okay? Some spicy books deliberately explore darker themes, which we already talked about. Why are trigger warnings important? We kind of went over it generally, but I just want to reiterate because, again, this is a book information podcast episode. Trigger warnings allow readers to make informed decisions about content they're consuming, ensuring that they can avoid topics that impact their well-being. They're especially important in spicy and dark romance books, where intense and explicit content is often the focus. Okay, that's all I want to do. Please read responsibly. And now we're going to go into some much darker parts because in past episodes, we have talked about something called Dubious Consent or DubCon, which is also in conjunction with usually CNC, which stands for consensual non-consent, which is very popular in dark romances and some spicy novels. So we're going to go into a segment about that in particular.
Let's do it.
All righty. Oh, deep breath.
Yeah, so these are often used in dark romance and erotica books.
Keep going.
Okay. These are lines of consent that may be a little blurred, leading to morally
ambiguous.
morally ambiguous, controversial situations.
The key difference between dubious consent and clear consent is that dubious consent involves some form of coercion, manipulation, or power imbalance that makes the consent questionable, even if not explicitly forced. So, key characteristics of dubious consent. I will go first.
Go for it.
Coercion. The person may be persuaded or pressured into agreeing to something they aren't fully comfortable with, but it's not outright force.
What about the power dynamic? One party may have authority or control over the other, such as a boss over an employee, teacher or student, or an age gap relationship, creating a potentially imbalance of power.
The next key characteristic of dubious consent is lack of enthusiastic consent. While not necessarily a no, a character's consent is given under circumstances that are not enthusiastic or freely given. It's given reluctantly or due to an outside pressure. Yep. And we're in the last key area.
Unclear communication.
Yeah.
This person may not explicitly say yes or no, leaving the consent in a gray area.
Yeah. So let's see. Can we give some examples of dubious consent? The hard part is trying to think if any of the books we reviewed have had a lot of dubious consent. I would probably say the last one we reviewed, Does It Hurt, had more dubcon in it.
So the character may say yes, but the context, such as being manipulated or coerced, makes the consent feel dubious.
Yeah.
That's a great example.
Yeah. A popular trope in this area is the alpha male or controlling love interest who demands intimacy, often leading to confusion or fear of rejection from the other party. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
I don't know how I feel about that one either, because I've read books where, yes, there's dubcon in it and there were alpha males, but he never demanded intimacy. It was more of, you will want me, you will beg for it. He never demanded it. It's, you will want it eventually, and I will be here when you do.
I mean, I definitely have read books where they're like demanding it.
Oh, no, I take it back.
Yep.
The Lord series, The Ritual. There's definitely demand in that.
Yes.
That definitely has that in it. Okay. Do you want
So
to
dubious it can be triggering for some readers because of the psychological manipulation, gaslighting, and abuse of power. That's why it's important to know what you're reading.
Yeah, it's important for authors who use this trope to include appropriate context warnings so readers are prepared for the potentially sensitive material. Why does dubious consent appear in romance? Well,
Because the power dynamics.
it often involves imbalances such as dominant, submissive, or emotional manipulation that complicate consent.
Yeah. What about the forbidden elements, relationships that are taboo, like siblings? Why do I keep getting this one? Teacher students are often featuring questionable consent due to social norms or the forced circumstances under which the romance develops.
Yep. And then psychological tension, the tension between attraction and resistance, particularly in darker, more dominant, submissive dynamics, makes consent feel more ambiguous and often a central theme in these books. Ooh.
Yeah.
So now
You know why I think women like it?
it's a fantasy.
Exactly. It's something that they're not supposed to like, but like.
Of course.
You're welcome.
All right. So we talked about dubious consent. Let's talk about, now we're going to give specific book examples really quick. We each picked books that we have read.
Yeah.
So I chose Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. The scenario is that the MMC stalks the FMC, breaks into her house repeatedly, and initiates sexual encounters where her initial protests are overpowered or ignored until she submits. Consent is 1,000% not clear or enthusiastic in this book, at least in the beginning.
Yeah. Not in the beginning.
Yeah. All right. Your book that you chose?
The Ritual by Chantal
Tessier.
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 Tessier?
Maybe that.
The rites involve a masked man claiming a girl. She submits because it's the ritual law, but there's pressure, expectations, and very little real choice at the start.
Cool. All right. And then we're going to hit a last few things about dubious consent, and then we're going to go into the difference between dubious consent and consensual non-consent. CNC. So why do authors use dubious consent? To create taboo tension. Danger equals hotter reactions.
Yeah, to explore control, surrender, and forbidden dynamics.
To make the eventual emotional trust, if it happens, feel earned and powerful.
To heighten stakes, it's dangerous, not safe love.
Yeah. So again, it's the fantasy. It's the idea of being dominated. It's the idea of being out of control. It's the idea of, no means yes, yes means no, that type of thing. It's exciting. And again, this is fictional. This is fantasy. This is not real life.
Right. These aren't real books or
So-
real life experiences.
Okay. So quick warning, dubious consent is not the same as consensual non-consent or CNC, where characters have safe words, agreements, etc. Dubious consent is messy, uncertain, and can make you feel deeply uncomfortable on purpose. So I'm going to put up a little graphic about dubious consent versus CNC so that people can have a comparison. And we can talk about, let's see, we've already talked about that. Let's talk about the key. I think we already talked about key elements.
No.
No, we're talking about key, important. Go ahead.
I have key elements.
All right.
That's fine.
You go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One character may not explicitly agree, but doesn't resist in CNC.
No, this is Dubcon.
Oh, this is Dubcon. Oh, okay. So there may be coercion, manipulation, or imbalance in power, emotional, physical situations. But I feel like we just read all this. The character might initially resist or hesitate, but eventually give in.
Okay.
And internal conflict, shame, and confusion around desire. I think that is the big one.
Well, and then there's important distinctions. So dubious consent is not non-consent, aka SA or the R word. It is not the same thing. In dubious consent, there's usually some element of implied or eventual consent, or its scenario is framed to blur those lines intentionally. Again, the fantasy is about the loss of control, not about real life boundaries being crossed. The reason why people enjoy reading about this in fiction romance novels is because it's the fantasy of the loss of control.
Right.
It's not the fantasy of this happening to you in real life. Does that make sense for everybody out there? I want to make it very clear that.
So let's do books that feature dubious consent or Dubcon.
Okay, you go first and then I'll go next.
So I have on mine Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. The setup is strangers stuck in a lighthouse during a storm, right? Dubcon elements, power imbalance, drowning fetish, sadomasochism, or psychological pressure. Enzo is the king of morally gray, and Sawyer doesn't know what she's gotten into.
Yeah, I think
that makes sense to everybody. Like, there's a power imbalance. He does have a fetish.
Yeah. The example I chose was Pen Pal by J.T. Gessinger. The setup is a widow inherits a creepy mansion and starts getting letters from a stranger. The Dubcom elements are identity deception, emotional manipulation, and dark psychological games that lead to intense and morally gray intimacy. Did you go? It didn't say that, so.
Yeah, I think you should say yours.
It's perfect for fans of gothic mystery with a spicy, twisty, uncomfortable undercurrent.
And we are going to review this in 2 more episodes. So we have this
one after this,
and then we'll actually be reviewing Pen Pal by
J.T. Gessinger.
Say it again.
Gessinger.
So if you want to read this, get on it because we're going to review this one after. Why? It's good to say that.
Okay, well, we're going to say it. Chill out. We don't want to go too far ahead. All right, so final thoughts on dubious consent and CNC. Dubious consent is not about endorsing non-consensual behavior in real life. It's about exploring darker fantasies in a safe and fictional setting.
Many of these books include trigger warnings up front, and it's always smart to check those before diving in.
Yes,
Make sure you
please.
check your trigger warnings. If you don't like sadomasochism, don't read it.
And read responsibly.
And read responsibly, yeah. And maybe you don't even know that something is your kink or a trigger, so
Again, like I said before,
just gotta learn.
I don't read trigger warnings because I want to be surprised. But I have a much more open mind. If I don't like it, I can always stop reading.
yeah.
So, okay, now we're into the next fun section, and I've actually been kind of looking forward to this. Our next segment is our individual spicy reading journeys or general reading journeys. So this is going to be a longer segment. So get your hot-cold combo, cold drink, hot tea, maybe another snack. I kind of wish I had another snack.
I bet you do.
So why don't you start out with, I would love to know your favorite childhood read, if you can remember it, and your teenage reads, and what you read back then.
Oh, shit.
Fire alarm's going off. We're going to keep going, though.
My gosh, it scared the shit out of me. Damn kids.
I blame it on the kids. Or the cats. One of the two.
One of the two.
All right. So,
Okay.
childhood or teenage reads? that were your
I remember
favorites?
reading Stories You Tell in the Dark. Do you remember that book? I think you probably have it. But they made a movie off of it too.
Hold on. Wait 1 moment, please.
And then I remember reading the Goosebumps series. So I guess I've always been into weird.
The Shel Silverstein? That book? When you said stories you read in the dark?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein?
I think she wrote both of those.
I think Shel Silverstein was a man.
Or he wrote both of
I don't
those.
know. Anyway, so what were your books again? It was those, and then you said Goosebumps?
Yeah, I think that was the other ones that I read.
So you were kind of already reading like darker, more horror type books then.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Or kid horror books, I should say.
Yeah. I've always been into horror. This is no surprise, everybody. I just realized this.
I can't hear you in my headphones anymore.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now?
No. Is your mic muted? Huh. Let us know if you guys can hear her okay. Uh-oh. Please stand by. Technical difficulties. We're working on it. All right. Well, while she's working on her mic, hopefully everybody can hear me okay. My childhood and teenage reads, I would have to say my first book that I read as a child that
Hold on.
Oh no.
I just clicked on the wrong last one.
She's breaking all the things. Are we better?
What about now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
All right, so back to what you were saying. You said Shel Silverstein, Goosebumps were your childhood reads.
What about you?
My first book, it was a assigned reading in school, and it was Where the Red Fern Grows, and I absolutely loved that book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
And then it was after that I read, I think it was called Homecoming, and it was about a girl and her 5 siblings that were abandoned by her mother at a mall, and they basically trekked across the country to find their long lost relatives. And she was like, I would say a teenager, probably in the 15, 16-year-old range, and all of her siblings were younger than her. So it was like 6 kids trekking across the country with like nothing to their
Interesting. Okay.
name. What did you read as a teenager?
I don't think I really read books as a teenager.
So what made you stop reading? Do you remember what made you stop or what made you fall out of love with reading?
School, probably. Drugs. I'm just being honest. Right? Like I had other
drugs?
things. I had other things I was doing, right? I was going out and partying and.
So it wasn't one particular incident. It was just life got busier and reading took a back seat.
Yeah, because I had to read for school. I wasn't a read for pleasure then.
Yeah, I would say what ruined reading for me was, I think it was late middle school, early high school. Assigned reading was The Great Gatsby. I hate that book with such an unbelievable passion. And that book made me hate reading. I literally stopped reading at I want to say it was either 8th, 9th grade, somewhere in that age range. I basically stopped reading, and any assigned reading I had to do for school, I just cliff noted at that point. Like I
Yeah.
bought the Cliff Notes or watched the movie and I didn't care how I did in grades. Like that book made me hate reading.
I wonder, that was really intense, huh?
Well, it's an unredeemable book. Like they think, I know it's known to be a classic. For me personally, I don't see any redeeming factor in that book. I find all the characters have no redemption arcs. It's a love triangle with booze and drugs. It's just, I don't find the writing compelling. I don't find the story compelling. It's just not for me. And it made me dislike reading. And I felt like every other assigned book after that point was probably, I thought would be the same, because I'm a teenager and that's all the further you can think ahead.
Yeah.
So I stopped reading again.
But I feel like they need to change the assigned reading now that we have more books and we're still reading fucking Jane Eyre and The Great Gatsby. Like, I get their classics are Pride and Prejudice and shit.
I
get
love Jane Eyre.
I know, but I get their classics. But I mean, I think they do need to mix it up a bit. Anna said hers was College Years by Stephen King.
You read Stephen King in your college years, or that's what made you fall out of love with reading? Banana.
What do you have on the screen?
Oh, it's the dubious consent thing. I guess I can probably take that down. That was kind of depressing. Yeah, I would. I agree. I think that required reading in school now. I think that at least where we are, I think the required reading, because my kids are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't read a lot of novels anymore, and even in high school, they don't read a lot of novels anymore. They read a few and they still read the general classics. I mean, it also depends on what like track you're taking in school. If you're a more English focused kiddo, you're definitely getting a list and it's got obviously all the classics like To Kill a Mockingbird and Of Mice and Men and 1984 and Fahrenheit 451.
I think that was probably one of my favorite books was To Kill a Mockingbird.
I want to say, I think I read Of Mice and Men. I don't remember it very much, but I remember that I liked that one. All right. So
Anna said she never fell out of love. And she said she read Stephen King in her college years.
Okay. So what?
Sorry if I bumped that with my nails.
What
Next.
out of your books? Okay. So now we did kids and reading, and then we've both at this point fallen out of love with reading. What book can you remember? What book brought you back to reading in your adult years? Do you remember?
Holy shit. Let me think about this.
We're thinking.
I mean, I think it was, I listened to the Harry Potter series on Audible.
That's what brought you back?
And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And then it just snowballed.
So,
because then I was like, oh, this is really easy to get through a book this way. And then I kept listening to more books. And then I was like, oh, I don't like to listen to music in my car anymore. I just need to listen to a book. And then it continued to snowball. And I read physical books too.
yeah, I hadn't dipped my toes into Audible books until I was an adult because they weren't really a thing.
Yeah. But I remember reading physical books way before Audible when I was as an adult. And I remember my hands hurting. I used to get mad. What book was that?
So I do remember, so in my high school years after I fell out of love with reading, I remember I wanted to watch The Shining, the movie. And I wasn't allowed to watch the movie because it was rated R. But my dad said, if you read the book, then you can watch the movie. The Shining is like that thick.
Yeah, dude, it's a serious book.
So I read that horrible book. Like, I'm sorry, I hate that book too. Like, it was great up until the ending and it got weird. The movie is better. It's still a little weird in the ending, but the movie is better, which is kind of funny. And then I took another big break after that because I just couldn't. Like, again, every book I read up until when I got back into reading, this is the best part. You know who got me back into reading? You.
You're welcome.
Do you remember what book you insisted I had to read?
No.
You don't?
No, I'm excited though.
Everybody's going to laugh at, they're all going to laugh at you.
They're all going to laugh at you.
So I had just had babies, I think I just had my,
book it was.
Yep. I had just had my first kid and I was at home and I just a little bit, not having fun being at home, postpartum, the whole 9 yards. And you're like, dude, I just read this book. You have to read this book. I'm like, I don't read. You're like, no, you have to read this book. And you made me borrow your copy. And I had to like, it wasn't Audible. It was a physical book.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't. Let me see if I remember. Go.
It was Twilight.
Yes. I think that's what got me back into reading was Twilight.
That book
I
is what
flew
made
through those books.
that book is what made me start reading again as an adult, and I have never stopped since then. It actually, everyone's gonna laugh at me again. I only own like certain books because I don't have a lot of bookshelves. These are actually crafting shelves. I only own a few book series in general, and that is one specific book series that I own is the Twilight series, and it's more out of the sentimentalness of it brought me back to reading as an adult.
Nice.
And I have like the 20th anniversary editions or 15 or 10 or whatever they are.
God, that was a long time ago.
I know. Well, it was right after my first was born, so it was like 2007, 2008.
Yeah. I think that's what brought me back into reading too.
And it's not like they're amazing books, but it was enough at that point in my like life journey.
I think it was different too. I think it was the first books that were kind of different in that realm.
Well, they're outside of like, again, assigned school reading.
Yeah.
And again, they were in that YA, that young adult thing.
Easy reads too.
They're easy reads. There's good relationship in it, good drama in it. It's a little soap opera-y, like young adult. It has just enough tension. I mean, there's no real spice. There's just enough tension to keep you wanting to keep reading. And those kind of books, I mean, I'm sure they existed when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But they weren't on the reading list. And again, as a teenager, you don't know what's out there. I don't even think YA was a category when I was in high school. That's how, I mean, not that I'm that old, but I don't think it was an actual category.
I mean, they probably didn't categorize it yet.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It wasn't its own category yet. So,
yeah, exactly.
All right. So now our first intro to spice. Now that we've gone through our childhood, teenage years, and our dive back into being readers, what was your first book that introduced you to spice or romance?
Oh my God. I think this is probably everybody's, not probably everybody's.
No, because mine is probably going to be totally different than yours.
I think it was, that brought me to spice from like the Twilight books.
From YA into adult level spice.
Was fucking 50 Shades of Grey.
Really? It was that one?
Yeah. I remember that was like the first one, and I blew through those books too.
Okay.
And I was like,
but that's a natural progression. If you're doing like Twilight YA stuff, that's your next. I would say that would be a natural progression because it was a nationwide phenomenon, and it hit that same age demographic and gender demographic, so it makes sense.
Yeah. What about you?
So after I read Twilight, my book recommendation auto popped up Outlander by Diana Gabaldon.
Oh yeah,
which
you're
is
obsessed with those books.
Shibada, shibada.
You're obsessed with them.
Well, it's totally odd that would be a book recommendation after Twilight. Like Twilight is vampires and werewolves. To go from that to, which by the way, they're like what, this big-ish? To Outlander, which is almost double in size, and it's, oh my gosh, if I can list all the genres that Outlander hits. It hits historical fiction, romance, sci-fi, political intrigue, war. I mean, it hits like every genre.
Yeah, dude.
So it's a weird recommendation to auto pop up in my algorithm, but I read Outlander and I was like, oh my God. Well, I didn't read it. I listened to it. I was actually able to get it on Audible. And the narrator, Davina Porter, has actually won awards. She is my favorite narrator of all time. And not just for the books. Like, she can do all the voices and accents and all of that. But anyway, Outlander was my first dive into a spicy novel. I would still say on the level of spice in Outlander, like book 1, before the ending, I would say it's like a 1.5, 2. Like, it's very mild until you get to the end. Have you ever read the Outlander series? It's like 9 books long now, but
no, I can't get into them.
They're thick. They're definitely.
I've tried to listen to them multiple times. I have them in my Audible. I have the first one in my Audible. I cannot fucking get through it.
Well, and that makes sense. Like I said, they're thick books. They're extremely descriptive, and they're not just one plot. There's like multiple subplots in those books. It takes a lot.
I mean, that's like, I know it sounds so silly, but like the Throne of Glass is like that. It's like an 8-book series, and they're big books, but they're really deep in plot.
All right.
But I think that shows our difference in reading.
Well, like let's give an example when we say thick. How many, on average, hours of reading is one of the books from a Throne of Glass?
Like 28 hours.
That's an average. Like you give that an average?
I can look it up, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Do you want to know the average listening an hours for an Outlander book?
Say that.
Okay. Do you want to know the average number of hours in an Outlander book?
No.
Well, fuck you then.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So the average audible length of an Outlander book is between 50 and 60 hours of listening.
That's crazy.
So it's almost double, if not triple, one of those books. So
how long did it take for that bitch to write that series? Or is it a dude?
It's a woman. It's Diana Gabaldon. And the first book she wrote in the early 90s, and she's still writing them. We're waiting for book 10. It takes her years to write each book because the amount of historical research that she does. And like I said, every book has multiple
crazy.
They have multiple subplots. And they're so good. Anyway, so moving on. So that was our first intro into spice. So the one book that ruined us and we never looked back. How has your taste evolved from those first few books into what you're reading now?
Oh, shoot. I don't know. I go through cycles. As I'm scrolling through my listening right now, it's crazy. Like, I go through cycles. Like, I like to read, like,
Well, how have your taste evolved from childhood to teen years to beginning your adult reading journey to now? Like, how have you evolved?
You know, I think it's this. I mean, I'm pretty much the same. I like the same stuff. I occasionally read something different.
Is she gonna come in? Come on, fatty cat. She's taking her sweet ass time. I would say that my tastes have evolved. Like I said, I would say when I started reading again, I started in YA. And I read a lot of YA. I read Twilight. I read Percy Jackson. I read Hunger Games. I read the Divergent series. I read a bunch of stuff. You'd have to probably pick her up and put her on there. I read a lot of that, and then it slowly went from YA, and I was looking for YA books that had a little less closed door spice, and then, just like you said, I got sucked into the nationwide phenomenon of 50 Shades of Grey, and was like, there's got to be better out there than this. And then I, because I was a photographer at the time, I got invited to photograph a romance novel convention in Denver.
How fun is that?
It was amazing. I met like a zillion authors. I got to see like the cover guys, all in their like oiled up, sweaty goodness. And I met an author there named Jacqueline Frank. She was amazing. And I got introduced to her books there, and I started reading her Nightwalker series. And that I would count as more of my real introduction to spicy novels rather than 50 Shades of Grey. Because it was 50 Shades of Grey felt like reading a really poorly written fan fiction, whereas the Nightwalker series had plot and story. So, hi, Jean. So that was my evolution, and I went from the Nightwalker series by Jacqueline Frank, and it slowly evolved into what I read now, which I read everything from fairies to dragons to cowboys to there's the fatty to age gap to what we've been reviewing. So, all right.
Do you ever read like
I reread a lot of books too.
fiction though, or do you all nonfiction?
I do not.
I mean, do you read any nonfiction?
No, I do not read. I do not read nonfiction. No, I take that back. I shouldn't say that. I read a couple nonfiction books over the years that were like memoirs or something like that, but they definitely weren't. I don't seek them out.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
I have a hard problem reading memoirs because then sometimes I either hate them or really like them afterwards.
Yeah. All right. What draws you to spicy books now? Is it the themes, the freedom, the taboo breaking, the emotional risk? What draws you to spicy books now?
You know, I just think they're fun.
Yeah. It's just for the entertainment value?
Yeah, for sure.
Something different.
And I think it gets weirder and weirder too. Like if you looked at my reading list or it gets like really weird and like really intense and then goes back down. Like there's a lot of like reverse harems for like days.
So it goes,
and then it goes back to like fairy, and then it goes back to like
contemporary,
and then it goes back to like really loving. So I just have a very fluctuating.
So what you're saying is that you kind of go in like waves. Like I kind of do the same thing. I also reread a lot of books, like some of my old favorites and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, what draws me to spicy books now? Something different, something fun.
Yeah.
You know, I read a lot of popular books that came out. Like I read Memoirs of a Geisha because I loved the movie. I read the book. The book is excellent, by the way. I've never had the desire to reread it, even though I loved it. But I'll rewatch the movie. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't think of like spicy books are they're fun. They're entertaining.
Fun.
It's a fantasy. It's not real life.
They're meant to be fun and to put you in a world that you normally aren't in, right? Like fantasizing about things you normally don't fantasize, or to think about the kinks that you normally don't think are kink or you would not be attracted to. And there's a lot of different reasons why.
Yeah, and I like, just like you read different levels of darkness, I also read different levels of spice. So I'll read everything as far as like a level 4 or 5, but I'll also like revert and read a YA novel series that has no spice.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
no darkness.
Yeah.
So it really just depends. I keep sliding down in my chair. Okay, so that segment. Anything else we want to add to our personal reading journeys? Anything else we want to talk about? How about real quick, can you list your top 3 either favorite books or book series?
Oh, well, Throne of Glass is probably my top book series. Favorite books?
Or not necessarily favorites, but books that you really enjoyed, maybe? Because it's always hard to rank books as favorites.
You know, I really like a lot of books. The Dark Knight Returns 1 and 2.
That sounds like that's a Batman reference.
Let me think.
All right,
about
so
it.
Throne of Glass series, you said. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my favorite book series is The Outlander.
Yeah.
What's another one?
You know, the Harry Potter series is really well written too. That one is really fun.
Okay, so I've reread the Harry Potter series like 6 times. It's such a good, well-written story. It's enjoyable to listen to. It's fun. It's adventure. It's fantasy. It's politics. It's battles. It's all of it. It's magic. There's a little bit of love in there.
Yeah.
Because they're teenagers. Again, YA books. I do revert to YA books a lot.
I think because they're easy reads and they're fun reads, right? Like, who doesn't like a good one?
Game of Thrones, I only made it through the first book of, what is it, Fire and Ice or whatever.
I've never read or listened to the Game of Thrones books.
I've only read book 1, and it was hard for me to get through. I wouldn't put Twilight on my top series. Like it would be in the top for sentimental reasons, not for reading reasons, if that makes sense.
I think it's a good book for young women, like young adults, like teens.
I mean, yeah, it's
tween years.
Well, it is a YA book, so it's meant
Right.
for
I
that
think
age
I would
range.
always recommend that.
I don't know. I think the world we live in now would disagree with you. I don't, but I think the world we live in now would disagree.
Why?
Oh, because have you not seen the stuff on the internet about how horrible Edward is because he's 100 years older than her, even though he's 19 and she's 18? Like,
Are you fucking kidding
Oh,
me?
dude, you should see the whole like video essays on YouTube about how it's a horrible power imbalance and it's sick and it's twisted. And I'm like, y'all read it and loved it. You just don't think it's cool anymore.
Okay, what about Interview with a Vampire? That dude's old as fuck. All those bitches like him.
But I'm not saying that's,
I know,
I agree with it. I'm saying
I
that's
know.
the world we live in now.
I think they're just trying to find reasons to bash books sometimes.
Well, or bash things that women like. And I normally wouldn't say this, but I found that if women like something, it's eventually made fun of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On a much higher level than men's interests.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. So, any other favorite books that you want to throw out there before we move on? I was trying to look at like I got to go like way far back in my stuff.
Did you read Cheats?
What did he say? I don't even want to know. He's probably going to be a smart ass.
She knows you too well. He just said, "Oh, you can say the same thing about Avatar,
Avatar and Aang.
Avatar and Ing."
Avatar is a animated series,
Right.
and then there's Katara, which
Katara.
is the new Avatar series. So the original Avatar, I actually own those, and I love them.
Okay.
I did not like the Katara series. In fact, I think Jared and I think we stopped watching it at the last few episodes left, and we just like literally lost interest and stopped watching.
Interesting.
But I love Avatar. Avatar is great.
Huh.
Okay. So should we move on to our next segment?
What is it?
Our next segment is reading tools and how it helps us with our book journeys.
Oh, like our book journals.
That's next. First is our favorite reading apps. So
Oh.
I personally, so let's see. Let's start with obviously my favorite reading app is Audible because I listen to books.
Mine is also Audible. And I just got into Kindle Unlimited because then I really like that I can read along and listen at the same time, and because it's easy for me to annotate that way.
Okay, so let's let the listeners in on this trick.
Don't do it.
If you have Kindle Unlimited and an Audible subscription, because they're both through Amazon, if you link... it's the cat attacking stuff. Stop it, kitty. If you link your Kindle Unlimited to your Audible and you bring up a book on Audible to listen to, it'll also bring it up and it'll follow along in the Kindle Unlimited ebook version along with the narrator where you can watch it be read to you. Does that make sense for the people out there watching?
The nice thing is too, like, because you can walk away and it'll keep your place in the Kindle.
But you're listening to it while you're cooking dinner or
yeah,
whatever.
so like I can be listening to it and reading it, and then I could be like, oh, I'm going to make dinner. I bring my Kindle with me, set it up, and it'll still follow along with the book that I'm listening while I'm listening to it. That way, like, if I hear something, I can go like walk over and stop and annotate in the Kindle.
Yeah, like funny quote or loved this.
Highlighted or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
And an annotation. So that's what I do to get ready for these series, right? Is I annotate, go back and listen and annotate the book.
See, what's funny is I do my annotation in Audible. So I put bookmarks in and I put notes in my Audible app on my phone of like, because we have to list like all the chapters that have spicy scenes. So every time a spicy scene starts, I use emojis. So I put a heart. So I know that that's a spicy scene. Or like if there's a good quote, I'll bookmark it and it'll have like I use different emojis, so it'll be like a check mark, or it'll be something like that. Or if it's a character description that I need to use in Midjourney to create a picture,
Yeah,
I'll use like a face emoji. So
Yeah.
I use that. I sometimes type in like actual notes in the bookmark, but it just depends. But little off tangent. Other apps for readers. There are several great apps designed to help you keep track of your book favorites as well as organize your reading lists, provide recommendations, and share thoughts on books. Here are some of the most popular ones. So obviously there's Goodreads. Goodreads is a go-to app for readers, those who track the books they've read, rate them, and organize your reading list into shelves. Examples: to read or TBRs, currently reading, and already read. You can also see what friends are reading, write reviews, and join book clubs. Obviously, and we'll let you know what platforms these are on just to be helpful. Goodreads is available on Apple, Android, and obviously it has a desktop version. So obviously we use it for this podcast because we pull the Goodreads summaries for most books, and that's also where I get the cover art from.
Fuck you, Gene.
What did he say?
Being Gene.
All right. You want to read about the next one?
Are you going to go through all of them?
Well, we don't have to.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't go throh all of them.
All right. Then
I would just do the best four. So,
well, I don't use these. So
Storygraph would be on iOS, right? Apple, Android, and the web. This is good for readers who want insight into their reading habits and prefer a more streamlined app compared to Goodreads.
Okay, then let's just do that. We'll just read them off that way.
So Libby.
Or it's Libib.
Oh, I think I was waiting for Libby.
Libib
Libib
is a library management app. It's available on Apple, Android, and the web. Those with large personal collections who want to catalog and track them. Yeah, so if you have a large like physical book collection, this would be like a library app to catalog your personal books. I cannot read it this far away. I'm focused. Gene can wait unless you're going to read what he's saying out loud.
Gene's being a meanie. He's saying that you did all the work and he loves how prepared we are, but it was mostly all you.
Yes, thank you, Gene. Love you. She does nothing. I'm just kidding. She contributes. She does a lot of the technical stuff. I do.
This was more of your episodes, though.
This was more of my episode. I wanted to give people general information about the genre itself. So,
Mary nerded out on this, so I can say that.
all right. Moving on. Bookly. Do you want to read it?
Yeah, Bookly is only on Android or Apple. This is best for her readers who want to track time spent reading and set goals for their reading routine. That's interesting. So they track your reading progress and set goals that also include a reading timer. Yeah. You can also see how long it takes you to finish a book and track your progress. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Pretty neat, huh?
Do you do this?
No.
Okay.
Audible does it for me.
Yes, I know that.
Maybe at the end we'll have to read off our Audible badges and how many we have.
Oh my gosh, we have so many.
Okay. The next one is called BookSwap. BookSwap is an app. It's on Apple and Android. It's designed to help you track and swap books with other readers. It allows you to catalog your collection and offers a platform to trade books with others. So it's a swapping, it's BookSwap. It's a swapping books and organizing their collections type of app and connects you with other people to BookSwap.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next. Oop.
Book Scouter.
Yes, I believe that's it.
Oh, this is a price comparison tool. Book Scouter allows users to catalog their books and compare prices at different buyback websites. People who want to track and potentially sell their books, especially textbooks. That's pretty handy for your...
Yeah. And if you have huge collections that you're looking to declutter and you want to actually sell them rather than donate, that's a good one. It's available on Apple and Android.
Yeah.
Right? All right. We only have
two left.
TBR or To Be Read List Tracker. It's only available on Apple. Those who need to keep a focused To Be Read list and manage upcoming reads. This app focuses specifically on helping readers to create and manage their TBR list. It's a simple app for organizing upcoming books. There you go.
And then we've got Book Buddy is our last one. So this is best for people who fully customizable catalog, who want to fully customize a catalog and track the books they lend. Custom shelves and tags, track lent books and return dates, barcode scanning for easy catalog. I mean, this is like if you want to be a library, huh?
Well, that's like Libib. Libib is like if you want to catalog your book collection as well. It's like a library catalog for your book collection. There are people out there that have huge book collections. It's only available on Apple.
Yeah, so if you want to track books and find recommendations, Goodreads and Storygraph are fantastic options.
For readers with large collections or a desire to catalog their books, you should use Libib or BookBuddy.
And then if you want to track reading progress, set goals, and measure time, Bookly might be a great fit for you.
Okay, so those are great apps for readers. All right, now we're into some fun stuff. Now we're going to hit...
Hi there, book lovers.
That's not it. 20 seconds.
You're talking too much. What about now? Oh,
Can't-
shit, I can hear myself.
I can hear myself. She's got them backwards. Oh, the echo is intense, man. I
I
know.
don't know
I
why
wonder.
I just did that. It's so weird.
Can't hear you. Oh no.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can everybody else hear us? All right. Some technical difficulties. Hey, double episodes are a little complicated. We've been going for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're moving into journaling and tracking tools, reading journals, and all of those fun things. So I'm going to bring, is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm just petting the cat.
Oh, well, geez, distracting me. All right. So if you're an analog kind of person like myself, I got to the point where on my Audible app, I had over 280 Audible books. And I got to the point where, because I like to reread, I couldn't remember what books I had read and liked and what books I hadn't read or what I didn't like. So I decided I needed to create a reading journal, which is what started me on my reading journal path. And I will probably pull up the... Ooh, hope that didn't mess it up. So I'm going to pull this up really quick. I'm going to zoom in on myself. Hello. And I'm going to show an example of my reading journal, which I might have to get up close, actually. You talk.
Oh, here's Mary's reading journal. Take a peek. So this is just an easy way to remember what you're reading and why you liked it and what you didn't like about it is a good way. I think Mary got me started onto doing a book journal as well. So,
Yeah, so for
it's a
example...
great way to remember why you liked a book, if you would reread it. And then like when we talk about it, you can like, oh, let me pull this one up and let me look at it. Right?
Yeah. So my book journal obviously has an index. I actually I have like two because they're full. Again, I made it because I couldn't remember if I liked books or not, and I'm pretty good at remembering books, but when you get into the hundreds, it's hard to keep all the stories perfectly straight. So my book journal, I had some custom stamps, or I bought stamps from Amazon that you could customize the wording on it, so I could do my title, series, book number, author, my own personal rating system, and whether or not I would reread it. And then I add up my rating system to give me a number of stars. So it's like a whole math thing. I'm a nerd, okay? And I also write in it when I last read it. So I know if I've read it multiple times or if I've read it 5 years ago and I want to reread it, that type of thing. And then I print out the book summary out of Goodreads, and then I put in my own hand review, and then I do some pictures because I want it to be pretty because I'm a girl. And that's what mine looks like.
Yeah, I like it.
So do you want to show yours?
Mine's not as fun.
But it's different, and that's what's important.
No. This is my lights out one.
They can't see it. It's very far away.
I know I'm getting up.
Get closer. She's letting the cats in and out.
So this is like Into the Wild.
So this is her Into the Wild. She does a pre-printed page to do her writing and stuff where it gives her things to fill in and color in and that type of thing. And then she also does images. And there's her Lights Out book. So hers is a little different. Once she sits back down, I'm going to pop up some images that I got off the internet. You can close the door now because the other cat's in here. Oh, there's Nocticadia. So I'm going to pull up some images that I pulled off the internet of other people's reading journals. And they can be, obviously these are really aesthetic. And I did complicated ones. I did more simpler ones for images.
You can take this off me.
Oh, sorry. You don't want to be the focus?
Of course, I want to be the focus of everybody's life.
There we go.
Just letting you know.
So reading journals are an amazing tool. They can be used for a lot of different reasons. This image on screen is from, her name on YouTube is Plant-Based Bride. Her link to her YouTube channel will be in the description box. She used to be a bullet journaler. Now she's kind of moved her focus to mostly reading journals, but her art is gorgeous. Her reading journals are really in depth. She focuses on a lot of different things. The books she likes to read are definitely the opposite of what I like to read, but I enjoy watching her reading journal videos because they're beautiful. It's like art on screen.
Did you pull any annotated books? Because like if you don't want to make a reading journal, you could and you physically read a book, you could annotate a book.
I didn't think to bring up an annotated book. Like I said, I pulled a bunch of different reading journal examples, which I'll put through on the screen of, like I said, complicated ones, more simpler ones. I wish I had done an annotated book because those are extensive, but let me put it this way. Go to YouTube and Google annotating books.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Or the person I just mentioned, Plant-Based Bride, she has a whole I think two different YouTube videos on just how she annotates books, and it's insane. It's beautiful.
Yeah, they do a great job.
But it's really not, annotating is not my jam. To me, it's like analyzing a book. It's like reading it as a textbook rather than reading it for entertainment. It's hard for me to do that.
Yeah, some people like to do that shit, though. They need something to do with their lives.
Yeah.
But I started my book journal so I would remember these books because I just go through so many books. So,
yeah. What other things do you like? Do you do any other tracking or any other spreads in your reading journal? No. I don't. Mm-mm. I strictly use it to review books and remember what I've read when I read it. That is strictly the only reason that I have a reading journal.
If people like it, I can put one on our Etsy.
But like Blondie just said, if people would like a reading journal or something like that, maybe we can do some digital downloads on our Etsy. We can create some templates. There's another option. Again, I'm just going to throw some stuff out there.
I can also put like a blank journal with make it a reading journal people can buy on there.
I know.
We
can do that, but I was just going to suggest to people, if you don't have the creative inclination to do something as extensive as like something like this, there are pre-printed reading journals on Amazon.
Yeah.
That have it all in there. All you have to do is you can just write stuff in, or if you want to print out the book cover, there's a spot for it and you just write everything in. You don't have to do what we do or what some of these people do. There's downloadable forms that you can pull off the internet, and you can keep it in a binder for that matter. You can print out a sheet.
Lots of easy ways.
Type it up. Anyway, reading journals are a great tool to do everything from track what books you've read to your reading progress, maybe do book showdowns. Like I said, there's some amazing stuff on YouTube if you want to see how people use their different tools. So, favorite ways to read. What are your favorite ways to read?
Where are you getting all these things?
Off of our outline.
Oh, shit.
I'm a nerd.
Favorite ways to read. I do prefer Audible because I can do something while I listen. I cannot just sit and listen to a book. I have to be doing something with my hands or my brain in some way, but that's my learning style, right? So
You're definitely an auditory listener
Yeah.
or an auditory learner.
So I can literally sit in my garage and make cornhole boards and listen to a full book series and know exactly what that book was about while I'm measuring, while I'm doing all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's just, I have to be doing something.
So the reason that I prefer I can do ebooks, I can do physical paperbacks, I can do the whole 9 yards. The reason I personally prefer audiobooks is it is extremely hard for me to do nothing but read, to sit still and read. And not because I can't sit still, but because I feel like
You're wasting your time.
I'm wasting time even though I'm not. Like I have a beautiful friend. She looks forward to sitting with her tea or in her bathtub and reading her book. That is her me time. That is her self-care, and I think that is wonderful. I can't do that. I've had to do that recently because the book series that I wanted to finish was not on Audible. Only book 1 was on Audible, and the last 3 books were on Kindle. And I didn't, again, I don't buy books. I don't have anywhere to store them, and that gets really expensive. So they were on Kindle Unlimited. So I whipped out my tablet. And again, to finish those books it took me about a book a day. For 3 evenings, all I could do was sit on the couch and read through this tablet to finish this book. Whereas when I listen, I can drive, I can cook, I can clean, I can do my crafting, whatever. I can do multiple things while also absorbing a book. It's like the ultimate multitasker. And I really love the voices. I like books being read to me. I've always liked that.
Yeah. Yes, Jean, I can make you a custom set if you'd like, but I used to make custom sets all the time in the summer.
Custom set of what?
Cornhole.
Oh, cornhole.
Yeah.
Other ways that people can read, obviously there's Audible books, there's ebooks, there's paperbacks. Paperbacks are good, I think, sometimes when you want to make your brain slow. Does that make sense? Like slow everything down. Like I said, when I had to read the Kindle Unlimited book, it forces you to slow everything down because all you can do is sit and read.
Yeah. Yeah, this one series isn't on Audible and I took, they're really, really tiny books, and I took one to Mexico, and Joe was like, "Are you actually reading a physical book right now?" And I was like, "Yes, I know how to read." Okay.
Oh my gosh. So the same thing happened to me with my husband when I was reading those books on the Kindle Unlimited. He looked over and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Are you actually reading a book?" Oh, and that's the other thing. Listening to a book on Audible is the same as reading. It invokes the same part of your brain. Did you know that? It's like they did. I need to pull these studies up and put them in the description box. I probably won't remember, but it does invoke the same part of your brain.
Interesting.
It's how you learn. Some people are audio learners. Some people are visual learners. But anyway, he was like, "I can't believe you're actually physically reading." And I said, "I can physically read faster than I listen. But I enjoy having books read to me. It's more of the sound.
Yeah, it's enjoyable for you.
It's enjoyable. Again, reading slows everything down, which I don't mind when it's a thing like on vacation. It's okay to slow down on vacation. You know what I mean? Braille. Whatever.
Yes, that is a blanket with our faces on it, and you too can have one.
It's
on
not,
our Etsy.
It's not our faces. It's our
avatars.
It's our avatars.
And they're fucking cute. So cute.
We're awesome. We have merch.
We got merch, bitch.
All right.
Next.
All right, we're finishing up. So we talked about ways to read, journaling, and favorite reading apps. If there's anything anybody else would like us to cover, that would be great. Now we're going to run down our last few details for new readers joining into the spice genre. So, question and answer time.
Yes. Can a book move between spice levels?
Yes, some books start at a soft 2 and 3 and get much hotter into a 4 or 5 as the story deepens. Sorry. I needed that like thinking thing. There's like the little wheelie thing.
Oh, did you have it?
I had a brain fart. It's been a long day.
Oh, yeah.
Does higher spice mean better story?
No, some level 5 books just have spice without plot. Some lower spice books are masterpieces.
There you go.
Tell me what spice you want.
How to tell what spice you
Oh,
want?
yeah, sorry. How to tell what spice you want.
Think about what you're comfortable seeing, feeling, and reading about, and that's the type of spice you should look for.
Okay.
Sorry, that's what it says.
And fantasizing.
What's the difference between 4 and 5?
Level 4 still tries to stay emotionally safe. And level 5, no gods, no laws, just chaos and orgasms. For sure.
It's just funsies.
Just funsies.
All right.
All right, peeps.
Thanks for joining us for this episode, for part 2 of this episode. It'll obviously be up a little bit later on YouTube because this is a part 2 and we only post weekly right now. But definitely look for us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.
And
right.
we will be posting more shorts on our TikTok page.
Yeah, keep an eye out for shorts and on TikTok and not reels. Is it reels on YouTube? Shorts on YouTube?
Shorts.
We also post shorts on YouTube. Oh my God, my brain is slowly going into sleep. It's going into sleep mode. It's getting very tired.
Okay, well, let's go on to our next book that we're going to do.
Into our outro.
Into our outro. Let's
All
go
right.
into that outro.
Let's go into that outro. Oof. Thanks for hanging out, Spicy Souls. Next time we're getting magical and a little bit mad.
We're diving into Magical Midlife Madness by K.F. Breen, a story about fresh starts, fierce magic, and finding your power when you think the world has passed your prime.
Spoiler alert, it's just the beginning. Grab your wine and your emotional support polar bear. It's gonna be a ride.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Both of our brains are just in
Yes.
mode. All right. Thank you so much,
So
everybody.
make sure this one's a fast read, so make sure you start reading.
It's an easy one.
And we are going to be live next Wednesday.
Hold on. Read the tagline for the book that's upcoming while I look up our dates.
Okay. Because you're turning 40 should come with magic and a few shirtless shifters.
Ooh, shirtless shifters. Dang, dude.
Yeah,
All right.
dude.
I actually think... All right. I think our next recording day is Tuesday the 13th.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're doing another double episode, which means it'll go up separately on YouTube, but it'll be double on Twitch. So all you Twitch viewers, you get double the trouble at twice the price.
So if you are going to be there for our live, make sure you read Pen Pal as well by
JT Gessinger.
Thank you.
Oh
So,
my goodness. But
you got 2 books to read, peeps. Get on it.
unless they can always stop when we cut it off like we did this one and then save it for later.
This is true. You can always do that. But again, we love all of our viewers. We really appreciate you always stopping in and supporting us. And make sure you go on our YouTube and like our page, subscribe. If you like it, like it. If you don't, you can dislike it or leave a comment.
Stop telling them to dislike it.
That's your choice. But we do appreciate all your support. And everybody have a great night.
Do not dislike it. Goodbye.
Dislike it if you dislike it.
Stop it. Stop it.